Oh, we're live. Look at us, guys. Hi, friends. Well, I think most of you know my story. About a year ago, the fit hit the shan, and I ended up with this face right here. Shingles is what you're looking at, all due to stress. And then just a couple of weeks later, ended up in the emergency room with that third panic attack, and ended up in my retreat. Not too long after that, I was reached out to by an old buddy of mine. We worked together in the radio industry, and he was like, "Hey, I want to tell you about this thing." And long story short, I think it's going to help you. I think it's just going to help you feel better. So I jump on it. I start taking it. He's like, "Give it like 40 days, and then call me. Like, tell me how you feel." So I jump on it because I'm like a lot of people in that stage of the game. I'm looking for an answer. I'm trying to find something that's just going to allow me to feel better. And what I've learned about, what he's talking about just seems to make a lot of sense. Long story short, I get on this little yellow pill, and this thing is like freaking magic. It's got my body feeling better. It's got my mind feeling better. There's all these great benefits. And then I thought to myself, I should bring in somebody, boom, Shaun, who knows a lot about this because she works for the company and has for a long time, and it's been changing people's lives with this for friggin' years. So, first up, Shaun, welcome to our podcast. How are you?
Hi, I'm fabulous. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing really good. So, I want to learn a little bit about your story quickly and how you got to where you are. And just so everybody knows, like Shaun and I know each other briefly, but we don't have a long history here. And so I don't know all the details. But from what I understand, there was some accident at some point in your life that really changed the way things went for you.
Yes. Yes. So I do country swing dancing, one of those crazy people you see at the country bars, or did. Um, and we were doing an aerial over concrete dance floor. And we had basically it went south and he still had my legs, but this is the grip that broke. So it was literally a 6 foot drop onto the back of my head first before the rest of my body. Anyway, so flash forward about 2 months. I had work calling me, asking me to file disability. I couldn't walk without needing support. I looked normal. The bump was already gone. Again, CT scan was showing nothing wrong with me. But I couldn't function. I couldn't put two sentences together. There was no way I was talking this fast. I couldn't think. I had one item on my to-do list. I was overwhelmed. I was in a dark, quiet room. I had sensory issues. Just it would overwhelm me, and I'd just be doubled over. Um, yeah. And then my dad he got introduced to this science, this technology, and he's like, "There's something about this." And I couldn't connect. My memory was gone as well. I had people come visit me, no recollection whatsoever. It's just very random what I could remember and what I didn't. So I had no
Wow.
idea what he was saying. And again, I looked normal, but no one knew how to interact with me. It was like I was a special needs person.
Well,
Um,
you were. I mean,
I was,
absolutely, you were. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
I had depression. Had never had depression before. I had anxiety. I had all these crazy thoughts I'd never had before. But that's what inflammation does in the brain. And so, and that's what oxidative stress and mitochondria dysfunction. I mean, those are key things that we'll also talk about here. But I didn't understand what he was telling me. There was an ABC investigative report done on this. I watched it, couldn't tell you anything. Again, I could not grasp anything, but there was something special about it. And when I went to go learn about it, my long-term memory understood the testimonies of people that used to walk with a wheelchair or be in a wheelchair most of the time, occasionally a walker, and watching them walk without any assistance. And I was like, I've never seen that before with that type of condition. And so that I got that and I said, whatever this is, I'm in. This is special. And I didn't say yes thinking it would help me. I said yes because I went, if this helps this many people from this broad spectrum and also animals. I've heard about cows, I heard about dogs, horses, cats, dolphins, penguins. Those are all customers on this technology because they all have this pathway that's super powerful that takes us back to when we were a kid. So I went, if this targets this, then I'm in. I know that this is special and I'm in. I don't need to know that it needs to help me in order for me to share with others. So, but it was about 2 weeks in, and I was listening to them talk about how it helped with head injuries and muscle recovery. And so I raised my hand. I said, well, I've been struggling with that. And mind you, I had been on the technology for a couple of weeks, but everybody's different. When you understand oxidative stress and inflammation, it takes time to do cellular damage, just as a time it takes to repair. So,
Sure.
and everybody's timeline and what's going on in their body is very different. And it's typically about 1 month for every decade for that cellular repair to take place, because our cells just continually to replicate. So think of a fresh cell. I love this analogy, is a fresh printed piece of paper. That's a fresh cell. Well, you take that piece of paper, you stick it on the scanner, and you make a copy. Well, it's not quite as good, but then you take that copy and then you make another copy. You see how that degradation happens. That's cellular damage. We do that by breathing the air we're breathing, the food we eat, the toxins, the heavy metals, the electromagnetic fields, the Wi-Fi, those wireless buds everybody's putting in their ears. All of that is raising and elevating that oxidative stress and that exposure and stress we get into the body, and that's damaging the cells over time. So, but when using this technology, what's really great is it activates, and it's proven to turn on every single cell inside the body, make it a little bit better. So then the cells replicate a little bit better. So this process I went through of the scanner and the copy, now it's reversing that. So now we're going, approving the cell, now it replicates a little bit better. Approving the cell, or replicating a little bit better. So that's the power of what this is. And so when they said, oh, hey, we've got a whole football team, a pro football team that has their team players on this for performance and whatnot, I was like, okay, what do I need to do? So they upped and gave me a specific regimen. Day 4 of that regimen, I woke up normal. Now, I can't say that I was 100%. I was at 45% functionality. I wasn't driving. I was hardly working, and I wasn't working out. And now, flash forward on that day 4, I'm going to go hit the gym. And I drove within my little 2-mile radius, just, okay, can I drive? And I'd still get my dizzy spells, but I was getting my energy back and life back. I just felt life force coming back in. And head injuries, everybody knows it is a marathon. There is no miracle thing that's going to go, put you back together overnight. It is definitely a marathon. But this single-handedly rocked my world. And then when I caught it, my vision even got bigger of everybody has to know about this. And so it's just, oh my gosh, how do you not tell people about this? So that's my testimony with it. And then I had many years of soccer, and I had all kinds of knee popping and scar tissue for years. I did soccer and all throughout high school and started college. I'm 38 now. And I got introduced to this when I was 33, and my knees were still hurting. It was about a year in where I noticed I was crouching, no problem. And again, cellular repair happens over time. So it's so subtle that I didn't even notice until someone mentioned how their knees felt better. And I was like, wait a second. I've been able to do all these crazy things that I've never been able to do.
Yeah. That's definitely was my experience too. It was, I like to put it like this, like not everybody, because I've been to a couple of the meetings where they talk about the technology, because I too wanted to learn a little bit more about it and understand what was happening inside and everything. And like, there's these radical stories, right, of people like you who had these brain injuries or head injuries or something like that, and you're at 40% function, you can't drive, and all of a sudden nobody would know for watching right now.
Right.
But for most of us, we're really just like feeling like we're at a 5, and we would like to turn up the volume a little bit to an 8 or a 9, because that's, generally speaking, where we feel better. Most of us fall in a space where we're going to get in a little bit of a rut or a little bit of a funk, or you call it what you want. And you used a really kick-ass word there a few seconds ago. You said life force. And that's exactly how it felt for me at about the 40th day. All of a sudden I said to my wife, I'm going to go on a hike. And she looked at me like, what? Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Try this for a little bit. Tell me if you don't feel like jumping back into life a little bit more. Tell me if you don't feel like you're ready to go to the gym, to go out and meet friends again. For me too, it was, I don't know if you experienced this because you had such a dramatic experience, but like my My attitude and my brain just felt better, right? Like some of the darker thoughts weren't so dark. It was a little brighter in there.
I love that. Yeah, yeah.
But
Okay,
but you
so
were
back
on a
to
roll about oxidative stress.
yes, and so it's basically anti-oxidative stress. The process of oxidative stress creates these things called free radicals. And free radicals are just wreak havoc internally inside our body. It's the rusting of an engine. So imagine the number 3 and 26 zeros behind it. That's how many free radicals an average human produces per day. 3 and 26 zeros. So we know, okay, well, antioxidants, well, blueberries, like we know blueberries are super antioxidant. One serving of blueberries neutralizes on average about 14,000. That's 1 and 4 digits behind it versus 1 and 26. Huge. So like that's my house being on fire and someone just going, okay.
Still valuable, but not quite getting it all done.
Correct. And it has, I mean, there's so many nutrients. I'm not saying don't eat any of those or whatever. There's super
Right.
nutrients and why not? But it's a 1-to-1 ratio. The power of turning on our bodies and our cells is now you go to 1 to 1 million ratio per second, every second in every cell. So now you have over, 30 some trillion cells that are now all turning on and all turning on these powerful enzymes that now gobble up a million free radicals per second. So now what this technology does, like NRF2, is it targets that number by 40% in 30 days. And it's proven 100% of the time by Harvard, by Stanford, by Johns Hopkins University, Mayo Clinic, Louisiana State. All of these institutions have done peer-reviewed research articles on this exact product, which is so unheard of. It's not the science. There's other NRF2 activators out there, but they don't have that validation and they have other things that do other things. This specific one is patented that drug companies are trying to mimic and create. Like the 4th annual NRF2 conference took place last year, the World Conference, and it's filled with drug companies. It's a huge,
Seriously?
powerful, serious. Yeah. So it's very new. It's so new. And this product has been out since it was 2005 when that ABC primetime went in. And then that's when scientists were watching and go, we want to research this thing. And they did. And they funded and did their own studies, which is so unheard of. When you hear a peer-reviewed research article, it's the company producing and doing their own product. And they went in and said, well, will this work for what we study? And that's how these over 30 peer-reviewed research articles have happened. So that's the power of the NRF2. And then NRF1 is in charge of our mitochondria. That's our powerhouse of the cell. That's the power plant to the city that to us, it charges us. That's also, it produces ATP, which is muscle function. A lot of bodybuilders you hear ATP. Oh yeah, I need that. But mitochondria, that's just our engine. And oxidative stress targets mitochondria first. So you end up in a mitochondria situation in crisis when your oxidative stress levels are super high. And, you look up mitochondria dysfunction, it's linked to everything as well, just like oxidative stress is. So when you can turn on that pathway, now it's that 1-2 punch for the cells. And then we got the world at our feet from there where there's more technologies coming. So it's great.
Yeah, the question that I have for everybody that's watching us right now is honestly, and I'm really going to get serious about this, is do you care about yourself? Do you love yourself enough that you want yourself to feel the very best so that you can have the very best? Most folks are not in that space. Most folks will settle, especially when it comes to their own well-being. They will put others in front of themselves. And what I'm asking you is, can you love yourself enough? Can you feel good enough about yourself that you say, I matter enough to do something that truly is going to make me feel better? And then I'm going to ask you, what's going to happen when you feel better? Because now you're going to have to act better, right? And so do you see what I'm getting at? Like, what if everything you think is going to come true does? What in the world are you going to do with yourself then? What are you going to do when you wake up and you finally feel okay and you finally feel like you have energy again and you finally feel like you want to go see your friends again? Get ready, because all that's possible. And I've already kept you 3 minutes longer than I'm supposed to, and I feel bad about that.
Don't at all.
Okay. All right.
This is
Well,
great.
Well, listen, friends, I want you to reach out to me right after if you have any questions. I'll be super happy to put you in contact with myself and with Shaun, and we can all figure this thing out here.